Welcome back, Freddy in the Shed 1, radio video, obviously. And right, I'm gonna go on to the 305 as I normally do, and what I'm gonna do on this video is following on from the last video I did where I asked people their choice in antenna, whether they preferred a fiberglass or a aluminium antenna. What I thought I'd do this time is, again, ask the guys what was their very first radio when they very first came on to CB. Bearing in mind that, you know, we were just teenagers really, a lot of us. Now, me myself, my very first radio was a Harvard 400M, which in itself was a rebranded Eurosonic rig, a very cheap rig made in Hong Kong. I remember it really, really well due to the friends and the contacts that I made on that radio when I was 15 when I came on air, and got my first date and my first girlfriend on the radio. So it kind of was a nice kind of nostalgia trip. It wasn't a particularly great rig. To be honest, the rig I wanted was that one there, the Murphy 1500, which isn't particularly liked nowadays with its sort of humming transformer. But I had a friend of mine who was a little bit posh, and his parents bought him the little home base radio, and I was very envious when I used to go around there, and it was all set up on the side of his sort of bedside table, and you know, it was all very neat and tidy, no power transformers, just the coaxial cable going in and one to the mains, and I always thought that was a radio to have. And I suppose other than that, we had things like the Binatone 5-star was another radio that a friend of mine had that I really, really liked. I had something called a Delta Tune that I thought was very, very mysterious and very exotic. And of course, Midland radios. I always had a little fancy for Midland radios with the sort of white kind of dial and meter, but never had one of those in the day. I had an Amstrad 901 that I swapped with a mate, and an audio line later on. And by that stage it was dying out. So that was my first radio, and I had to work for that. I had to go and caddy over the local golf course all summer. It took me about 4 months of caddying and saving all my pocket money. It was £54, I remember it from the shop, and I got some money for my birthday to pay for the antenna and the power supply, and I saved up for the radio. Or maybe it might have been the other way around. Maybe I think I was bought the radio and I bought the rest of it myself. But it was quite an achievement at 15, you know, at school. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to find out, you know, nostalgically what the guys had for their first radios. What should I do? I'll probably start off on the Alinco, as I've got that. Well, it's the last one I used, so that one's connected. And then I'll see how it goes. I'll see what response I get, but I might shoot over and do a bit on the 305. So if it jumps about between radios, you'll know that's a different day. But anyway, going to get on the radio now. Hopefully get some stories and some tales from back in the day and all that. And I hope you enjoy the video. Right, I'm going to do we're going to try and do a bit of video today. And what I'm going to ask people today, and what I'm going to ask you in a minute, I want to cast your mind back to when you very first came on radio, no doubt when you was a nipper. And I want to ask you, what was your very first radio that you bought or swapped or had as a present or something? What did you start with, John?
I had a Rotel RVC 240 with 80 channels.
Blimey, that was quite a posh radio for a youngster. What age was you then, John?
About 16.
That was quite a step up, wasn't it? For the rest of us that had the old sort of Amstrads and the Binatones. And where'd you get that one from, John? And can you remember how much it cost?
Yeah, I bought a whole setup off my mate in Bedford, 35 quid with a modulator aerial, power pack, and the rig.
Oh, well, that was a bargain, wasn't it? Because, I mean, I think they were sort of twice that just for the radio if you bought it new. Oh, amazing. How long did you keep that one for, John, before you upgraded?
RVC 240. It says 40. I had the one with the volume squelch, mic gain, RF gain and all that, but they did a smaller one, didn't they, with just volume and squelch. I had the one with all of them. Yeah, this had quite a few, this had all the usual thing. It had volume squelch, RF gain, mic gain, and it had a tune thing on it as well, if I remember rightly. It wasn't like a clarifier because it wasn't sideband, but it had some sort of delta tune thing on it, if I remember rightly. I'm sure that's what it had. Sure, it had about 5 or 6 knobs on the front of it. and a bunch of switches.
Yeah, that's the one. I remember what they looked like. I can't remember what the model was. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I remember that. They had a Delta tune, didn't they? Which I think it had a little triangle symbol above the pot, Rog.
That's it, I remember now. The 240 was the big one, and the 220 was the volume and squelch one. That's what it was.
Good afternoon, Robbie.
Yep, Fred, right, John?
Oh, yeah, Robbie.
Yes, radios. I heard what you were saying about the first radio. Do you know, I can't remember. I know I never had a home base. This is my first home base setup, but I had a 40-channel AM setup, and that was it. And then I got an AM FM one when they started talking about FM. I can tell you what car I had, and I can tell you what antennas I had, and that was about it, mate.
Oh, Roger Dodger. So you was on the AM days, obviously pre-1981 then, Robbie?
Yep, that's it, mate. Way back then. And I can't remember it, but I think it did have a wooden front to it, I'm not sure.
So it might have been a stalker then?
May have been, mate, but I didn't have it for long because everyone was saying that, oh, well, you're not allowed to have them, you've got to have FM and this, that and the other. And I got an AM FM rig, and we never used the FM, it was awful.
Oh, okay. So I always thought that the FM would have sounded, you know, better, been a bit clearer than the AM. But maybe not back in the day.
No, well, the first antenna I had was the car I had at the time was Datsun 120Y Coupe, and it was a boot mount, and I think it was called a dialer match. It was a bit like the A99s, you know, with the little dials on it, and you could move them up and down to adjust the SWR, Roger.
Yeah, Robbie.
Roger.
I've still got one of them. I was using it on my Vespa when I had the radio on the bike.
On a caravan site at the top end of Gorfton. He had a big caravan up there, and I think he had a Hammond Jumbo International. He had a 3-element Beamer, and I'll always remember him because he was always louder than everybody else. And he was always DXing, going on about it, but, you know, we just stuck to, you know, the mobile. There was a lot of people about using them then, back in the day. You know, and just about all my mates had them in their cars. And we used to meet up, or we, you know, used to cause trouble. You could always tell when, I used to work in a nightclub, and you could always tell when one of my mates was outside because he'd come over on the hi-fi speakers on the sound system.
Right, Dave?
So, they're happy then. Oh, yes, Fred.
Right, everyone else has had a go. We're doing a nostalgic bit, right? So I want you to think back when you very first came on radio, not recently, but when you very first came on, and the equipment you had. What radio did you start with? Can you remember?
Yeah, it was a Binatone, then I had a Midland. Binatone, then a Midland.
Roger, Rog. What Binatone was it? Was it a basic one or was it the 5-star?
Oh, I don't know. It was just something that my girlfriend's dad gave us, because they were all on CBs and had them in the cars and whatnot. And of course, I was going out with the daughter, so I had to have a CB in the car.
Oh, that's good. So what was the first one you bought? Did you buy one after that, or did you carry on using that one?
No, I never bought them. I got given them. So I never actually. I used to go over to Truck Kings to have a look, but no, I never bought them. They're always second hand.
Oh, Rog. So obviously sideband. Did you not get into that until you came back on?
No, it didn't. Well, it wasn't there. I don't think it was legal. A few of the guys used to do AM and sideband, but no, it wasn't my thing. I don't think I understood it properly. All I knew was the top 40 and spin the dial, and there you go.
All right then, Jake. So go on then, tell us what your first radio was and what year you first came on to CB.
So, are you doing it now, Fred?
Of course.
I can hardly hear you too well, I've got you shocking us. My first radio was a Harvard T40, the one with the metal telescopic aerial, the old massive thing with the little tiny meter on the top.
Okay, and what year was that when you came on?
God, I can hear that bit there. Say that again, Simon. Repeat. Sorry, Fred. Repeat that, Si.
Oh, I'll have to turn the power. Yeah, what year, Jake? What year did you first come on to CB?
Yeah, sorry, Fred. I came in I think it was 1989. So I had the Harvard, and I had that for about 2 weeks. I bought that off my friend Jason and Kentish Standards on it. Oh, leave it. My phone's ringing now. Hold on.
Oh, it's always the way. Okay, good afternoon, Sam. Sam, what I'm asking people, and I'm making a video if you want to be on a video. If not, tell me and I'll stop. But what I'm asking people was, you know, back in the day when you first came on to radio, what year was it, and what was your first radio that you got?
It was back in '86, and I had a Transcom DBX 4000.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty posh. Was that a really sort of expensive rig?
No, God, it probably only cost me about 20 quid.
Oh, okay. Well, it's had quite a good name to it. I don't recall that one. Was that mobile, or was you set up on a home base?
In '86 I was home base, and then in the '90s I was mobile.
Oh, roger there, when you got a car. And how long did you stick with it, or were you like the rest of it? Did you do it for a few years and then like give it up?
Yeah.
Was that, yeah, you gave it up?
Yeah, 3 years, gave it up.
Okay, okay. So when did you come back on then?
About 3 months ago.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, you're a newbie then. It makes me feel a bit...
Yeah, Sammy said he wanted to know what made you come off air. Was it because it was getting a bit stupid, a bit silly on the air?
No, I just got a bit bored of it, and then, yeah.
Okay, alright then, I got that. So, okay, well, Sam's pretty new. It's great, isn't it, to get some new people back on. Alright then, look, Robbie, I'm going to start going up to the 305 now and give a listen out. So, cheers, Sam, thanks for your input, and Jake, I say eventually I'll knock a video together, and hopefully you'll be able to sort of see yourself on that. But cheers and beers for now, and I'm going up on a 305.
No worries, catch you later, Fred.
On the 305 shortly, mate.
Can you remember the year, and can you remember what you started with?
Yeah, I can. My first rig was a straight 40 AM Bristol. It didn't have a digital display, it just had like a round disc with the numbers round it. And whatever channel you was on was at 12 o'clock where the little light was, so you always had to do that. That was my rig. My aerial was a 5-foot fire stick, and my microphone was a Turner Plus 2U.
Wow, well you remembered all of that. So what year was that and how old were you?
Well, I'm 56 now, and that was my first rig that worked. I had another rig before then, but wouldn't transmit. I used to earwig. But it was in 1981, Fred.
Yeah, Roger, a year before me. And and you never came off, did you, Steve? You sort of stayed with it right the way through?
On and off, give or take the odd year, you know, interest sort of came and went, but yeah, pretty much right through, Fred. My third rig was a TriStar 747, and my fourth rig was a brand new Cobra 148 GTL DX, and that's when I started DXing, Fred.
Oh, Roger that. God, that was a rig in its day, wasn't it? I mean, I think Johnny said the other day he's got a mint version of one of those. I don't suppose you've still got the 148. I suppose that went years ago, did it, Steve?
Yeah, years and years ago. I got skint, unfortunately, had to sell it, but yeah, it was absolutely blinding. It took me ages to save up for it, but there you go, mate. It was the 747 that got me interested in DXing, because me and my mate used to listen on it, because it was my mate, the TriStar. Used to listen on 555 at all the Continentals coming in, and I thought I've got to have a go at that.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, Gary. Oh dear. Yeah, you're booming to me, mate.
Yeah, I'm just Fred in the shed. We've never met. I've seen your video. I've seen the 318. I've seen this video as well. Very good, very interesting. Just a little quick one for Fred, if you're listening. I assume you are. First radio I saw was a Bristol 23 channel on a fire stick on a dustbin, over.
Oh, roger that, Gary. I got that 23 channel rig. Was that an FM one, Gary, or was that an AM, Rog?
AM only, that's all they did at the time. That was Christmas 1980, and they were flogging them somewhere from a garage over Luton Way. 50, 60 quid, I think, because they knew that the new 40 channel was coming out, and then, as they said on here, we all had over 148 multi-modes and majors and everything else, over.
Yeah, copy there, Gary. So you was one of the illegal AM boys then, when it. So I was speaking to some of them the other day, Gary, and they reckon that when FM started, when we all came on, they reckon it sort of ruined it. Did you prefer the AM days, Gary, or did you was you quite happy with the FM, Roger?
Yeah, it was AM, and we had a big sum over this way up in all the local villages, Letchworth and District. I think it was 400 odd people, members, the old boys of the cars, all on AM. We had the wheel numbers with them, people swearing and that, all going out and chasing them. Christmas 1980, and when the FM come out, always you make it at a sub level. No, not for me, some of us hung around
QSK.
AM side, and then I found out what sideband was, obviously, through a Cobra. Got into that quite heavy, and then I went on other frequencies. Boris Spector won his first Wimbledon when I received my other licence, over.
Yeah, QSK acknowledged, Jake. Yeah, that's fantastic, Gary. I mean, you were one of the ones that got started on the AM. I missed out on that. I was just that little bit too young. But yeah, cheers for that, Gary. I should get that on video, hopefully. You're a little bit faint to me, but that was really interesting. Thanks for that. There. Come on, Dave. You've had loads of radios. What was your year and what was your first radio when you first came on?
My first radio was a Midland 100M. AM radio. That was in 1982. We went down to visit some friends in Brighton there, and they was on it, and they said, I said, oh blimey, that's brilliant, that's good. So I got the Midland 100M, and then it came on to the 2781, didn't it? So I got a Fidelity 2000 then, the Cybernet boarded radio. Then after that I got the 148 GT LDX, and then I had a break in the end of I had a break for about 20 years, then come back on in 2010. So luckily I didn't get rid of any of my radios. I kept all the gear, but I did get rid of the aerial. So I got the IMAX 2000, put that up, because obviously I was okay then, and put that up myself, and that's how it started for me. But I did go mobile. I had an old Morris Marina with a gutter mount on it, and with a DV27. So in actual fact, I was mucking about in the garage the other day, and it's in the garage with the original gutter mount. It's like a grey coiled. You can see the coils, and it's covered in plastic, and you adjust the top. Yeah. So that's how I got started.
So there we go. I'm sorry that video turned out longer than I thought. Once you start talking about the old days on the CB, everyone's got something to say, and I've recorded about an hour's worth of video over 2 days. So I'm going to edit that down, but I know it's going to probably end up about a 20-minute video. I'm sorry, I'll try and get these videos smaller. I'll try and keep them sort of just above the 10-minute mark. But, at the end of the day, I don't want to cut off what people are saying when I think it's quite interesting. So, that was a great bit of chat. I went on the FM there as well, on the Channel 35 group, and got some of their opinions. Absolutely fantastic. Always good to hear people. And, I mean CB radio, yeah, okay, you've got your guys that kind of go out and do the DXing and go up on the side of a hill, all on their own with just their massive antenna. And, it's really great, isn't it? I mean, it's when you sort of get a long sort of signal, like we get DX, for international DX sometimes from overseas. That's really exciting, or we'll get maybe a sort of 60-70 mile contact, and it's really quite a bit of a sort of an uplifting kind of contact. But do you know, I think what I really sort of enjoy the most about CB is stuff like we had today, you know, just going on CB, having a chat, you know, just with the guys, a little bit of sort of chewing rag if you like, but the social side of it, just going on radio, making sort of friends on radio. Probably won't meet half of these people, you know, in my life, but it's just making friends, isn't it? And that's what I miss about, that's what it was like in the old days, you know, when we were younger, going on sort of making friends, doing the eyeball stuff, you know, and it was just very, very social, until it all went a bit sort of crazy and people started keying over people and, you know, using burners and playing the music. But that's what I miss, and that was nice to capture that nostalgically on this video today. Right, going to bring this one to a close. As always, there's the old thumbs up. Cheers, thanks very much for watching. I've got a few more ideas for radio coming up, you know, shortly in the future, and a few more gadgety stuff and bits like that. But as for now, as always, cheers, thanks for watching, take care, stay safe, and of course I'll catch you all on the next one.